You ever feel that guilt that creeps in when you procrastinate? Or just get so frustrated because you can't seem to stick with your own plans? Well, what if I told you that pretty much everything we've been taught about discipline is wrong? Seriously, let's get into it because we're about to unpack a much smarter way to build the habits you want without that constant, draining struggle.
And this quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. We have this idea that some people are just born disciplined and the rest of us are, well, lazy. But that's a total myth. Your struggle isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you've been trying to play a game you were never ever designed to win.
All right, so first things first, let's just completely tear down this whole idea of willpower. We're always told to just try harder or push through it. But forcing yourself to be disciplined, it's like trying to hold your breath forever. You can do it for a little bit, but eventually your biology is going to take over. And that's not you being weak. That's just you being human.
And this is the absolute key. The fight for discipline isn't a moral battle happening in your soul. No, it's a real physical conflict happening inside your brain's wiring. So let me say it again. You're not lazy. You're just caught in a tug-of-war between your ancient programming and the demands of our crazy modern world.
So to really get this conflict, we've got to go back in time. I mean, way, way back. Our brains evolved over millions of years with one main directive: survive, right now. And guess what? That ancient software is still running the show today.
And here it is, the fundamental mismatch. Check this out. Our ancient brain, our default setting, is all about conserving energy and chasing quick, easy rewards. That's why scrolling through social media feels completely effortless, right? But the modern world, it demands the exact opposite. We're supposed to work hard for these abstract, long-term goals like saving for retirement or getting a degree. It's a direct contradiction, and our brain is stuck right in the middle.
This all boils down to a really powerful core concept called cognitive ease. Your brain, at its core, isn't really rational, it's just efficient. So when you give it two options, let's say doing your taxes versus watching another YouTube video, it will always drift towards the one that takes less brain power in that exact moment. And get this, it's not even a conscious choice. It's just your brain's autopilot taking the wheel.
So, okay, if our brains are basically hardwired to be lazy, how in the world do we ever get anything important done? Well, this quote from James Clear is everything. It's the pivot from understanding the problem to actually finding the solution. It's not about trying to feel more motivated. It's about changing the world around you.
And here we go. This is the big paradigm shift. Real discipline isn't some heroic internal struggle of willpower. Nope. It's an external act of smart, intelligent design. The most disciplined people out there, they don't have more inner strength than you. They're just better architects of their own environments.
This brings us to this amazing idea called choice architecture. And it's actually really simple, but it's so profound. You can literally guide your own behavior by just carefully arranging the space you live and work in. Why? Because whatever's easiest, closest, and most obvious is what gets done, period.
This little cafeteria experiment is the perfect example. Just picture it. Nobody got a pep talk about hydration. There were no motivational posters. They didn't try harder to drink water. The designers simply made the better choice the easier choice. They changed the architecture of the decision, and voila, behavior changed automatically. It's that simple.
So how do you actually do this in your own life? Well, you set traps for your future self, but good traps. You make the good habits the path of least resistance. So instead of fighting your brain's love for cognitive ease, you use it to your advantage. Make reading that book easier than grabbing your phone. Make putting on your workout clothes easier than staying under the covers.
Okay, so how do we do this in a systematic way? Well, author James Clear gives us this incredible practical framework. It's called the 4 Laws of Behavior Change, and you can think of it as your new toolkit for designing a life where discipline is just easy.
And this right here is such a relief. From now on, when you feel yourself procrastinating, don't beat yourself up. Instead, see it as a useful signal. It's just your brain telling you, hey, this task, as it's set up right now, is breaking one of the rules.
Let's just break this down with a real example. Studying. Okay, on the left, that's the classic setup for failure, right? It's high friction. The book is hidden away, it feels boring, the goal of 1 hour is huge, and there's no reward. But now look at the right. We just applied the 4 laws. We made it obvious, attractive, super easy, and satisfying. The task itself didn't change, but the system around it is completely different.
And honestly, this is so freeing.
You do not have to wake up every single morning feeling passionate and excited to go for a run or to study. I promise you, the most productive people in the world don't. What they have is a system that ensures the action happens anyway, whether they feel like it or not. They've made the right choice, the inevitable choice.
Okay, so now we're going to get to the deepest, most powerful level of this whole thing. Because building systems and habits, it doesn't just change what you do. Over time, it actually changes who you are.
This is a quote you might want to just write down and stick on your wall. Seriously, your future isn't defined by your big dreams or your ambitious goals. It's defined by the quality of your daily automatic systems, because that's what you fall back on when motivation inevitably disappears. I want you to think about it like this. Every single time you lay out your gym clothes the night before, you're casting a vote for "I'm a healthy person." Every time you open that book, even for just 5 minutes, you're casting a vote for "I'm a reader." And these tiny little votes, when you repeat them day after day, they build up the evidence for your new identity.
So the real takeaway here is this. Lasting change always comes from the inside out. You stop trying to force yourself to act like a disciplined person. Instead, you just focus on building these tiny habits that prove to yourself that you are a disciplined person. And then discipline just becomes a natural side effect. It's not a fight anymore.
So, I'll leave you with this question. Forget willpower for a second. Forget trying to find more motivation. Using what we've just talked about, what is the one, first, tiny little habit you are going to redesign to make it just a little more obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying, starting today? The power to design your choices is all yours.